Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Searching for Political Identity. I am your host, Brian Escow. It's great to be with you. Thank you so much for being here. This is an important episode. There's no question that this is the most important, significant episode I will ever do. I think it's the culmination of 3+ years of searching for political identity. Now, I say that not to say that I've completely found it, but I am, of course, making a big announcement why I came to that conclusion, how I got here, what it means for me, all of that. I'm also going to talk about yesterday's debate. And that is basically the bulk of the episode. There's a lot there. But before I get to that, I want to just tell a quick 9/11 story, considering that it's 9/11. And the story is I was 12 years old on September 11th, 2001. And I was right before the first plane hit. Literally, I was in the nurse's office trying to get my mom to pick me up, as I so often was. And I would call her, I'm sure once every 2 weeks, and she would say, "You got to rally, you got to go back to class, Brian." So I was always trying to come home. And that day, while on the phone with her, expecting to hear her to tell me to go back to class, she says, "Oh my God." I said, "What?" She says, "Don't say anything out loud, but a plane just flew into the World Trade Center." Now, I was 12 years old. I understood. I knew I was aware of the building, but I didn't process what that meant, right? It was just like, what? So she picks me up, takes me to her client's house. She's an interior designer. And I'm sitting on the client's couch, and I see the second plane hit the tower live, and I see the second tower come down live. And this is at a time when my peers had no idea. Kids were just in class. They weren't. It wasn't announced at that point over the loudspeaker. And so I had a pretty unique, rather unique insight into the event. And then that night, my dad, excuse me, I'm going to pause the video. Thank you for bearing with me. I don't know if I mentioned at the beginning of the episode that I have bronchitis, but this is too important for me to miss. So my dad did what so many fathers in our neighborhood did that night, and he took us to a little place called Washington Rock, which is a really special little overlook in our town where you could stand where George Washington stood 200 years before and saw the redcoats coming, so pretty intense living in New Jersey, but you could see the New York City skyline, and it was on fire. And so many people from our town were there. That was incredible. So that was quite a day for me. And so this day is imprinted in my mind, and so many lessons. And I'm not really prepared to unpack all of them right now, nor do I fully understand them. But let's acknowledge two things. One, that there was tremendous loss, horrific tragedy, the despair, the horror, all of those stories, the reality of what happened. And then the lessons from the years that followed. So it's such an important event, so solemn, so awful, and a lot of lessons, presumably, to take from it. Now, let's get to the meat and potatoes here. I have not come out of the closet yet to my family or my girlfriend's family, and I'm very nervous about it. I feel like I'm, literally coming out of the closet, but not, of course, in terms of sexuality, but in terms of the fact that I'm voting for Trump. The bottom line here, guys, is that I grew up in a progressive home. I relate to my dad to this day through politics. Politics was an important part of our house. And I was just raised to believe that the Democrats were the right party to vote for a number of reasons. Then I went to law school. Cut to many years later, a kind of a listless young adulthood where just fucked around, right? Certainly wasn't sharpening my pencil in any way, so to speak, in any way at all. And I eventually got restless just working, and I got myself into law school at night. I went to University of San Diego. It was phenomenal. I loved it. It changed my life in ways I can't even describe. But learning about our system, learning about the law was so fascinating, and it made me go, it shifted me to the right, is the point. It really shifted me to the right a little bit. I said, wow, look at this system. It's so impressive. It's great. Anyone could achieve here. This is equal. This is fair, egalitarian. What's not to like? Then I got into my final year and I took an elective, excuse me. Thank you. Took another sip of tea. I'm on meds. I'm on prednisone. I'm on amoxicillin. So thank you for your concern. Final year of law school, being an SCAL, I said I got to take some electives in social justice. So I took 2 electives in critical race theory. I've documented them, my feelings about the courses extensively on this podcast. Not to say that I'm willing to put a nail on it, but certainly my reaction to the material and the students in that class was also to shift me to the right, I would say overall. And then you have the fact that I've always kind of thought that Trump was treated unfairly. I'm not talking about his past life. I don't give a shit. As a presidential candidate, sure he's divisive. Sure he's provocative, controversial. I take back divisive. I will say he's controversial, of course, and provocative, yes. But who started this back and forth between him and the media? I don't know, but all I know is that he was subjected to a lot of bullshit, hoaxes, left and right. It turned out to be really hoaxes. And so all of this questioning of the mainstream narrative, that didn't help the chances of me continuing to vote for Democrats. But I voted for Biden anyway in 2020. In the pandemic, another huge factor. I mean, come on, the pandemic. It's like, what is going on? What is going on here? Hard to know what is real, what is true. A lot of reasons to question political identity, right? So I graduate law school, have all those experiences, including the pandemic, and I'm like, wow, I voted for Biden, but then you add on the results. Let's just be real. The wars, inflation, the attacks on speech, all right? I just find myself aligned with the right on all of these issues, damn near all of these issues. The bottom line is I don't think Israel would have been attacked if Trump were president. I don't think Putin would have invaded Ukraine if Trump's president. I buy that. I really do. You add all of this up and you start to run out of reasons not to vote for Trump. Then you add on the process by which we arrived at Kamala Harris, who did well, very well. And I'll certainly talk about the debate last night. But it's a turnoff. The whole process, huge turnoff. The results of the Democrat presidency of Biden, the process of how we got to where we're at, it's ugly, leaves a foul taste in my mouth. And Trump is appealing. So there are extremes on both sides of the political aisle. And I do not believe that Donald Trump is an extremist. What else to say? Should I now go into the debate? No, before I get into debate commentary, I just will say, so it's exciting time for me. And it's nerve-wracking because opportunities are upping up. Like, Vivek said, I was a fan of Vivek, big time fan. I just started to realize, oh my God, I agree with these people. It's okay. Be your own person, Brian. And he said, see what happens when you cut against the grain and you believe it. And I've just done that. When Kennedy came out for Trump, that gave me psychological permission. I was actually ahead of Kennedy by a week. I said, ever since Harris became the candidate, I felt like, because I was in support of Kennedy, I said, you know what? It's starting to feel like I got to choose between Trump and Harris. And so I was already going that direction. When Kennedy, the dam broke, and he gave me psychological permission. I admit it. Take another sip here. Bear with me. Pardon me. And since then, I've been all in for Trump, and I've crested, and opportunities are opening up, followers are coming, and honestly, I feel good about the decision. Why are the followers coming? Why do I feel good about it? Because I finally got off the fence, and you become more interesting when you come off the fence, right? Not to say that I've found my total political identity. I don't know. Maybe I have. I'm not ready to say that, but I know that I've arrived at a big milestone, which is to say that I'm supporting Donald Trump. It's been a wild ride. The man is flawed, but who isn't? On balance, people say, what about January 6th? Dark day, ugly, but you know what? Denying the election, all that. Guys, I never said the election was rigged. I never said Biden didn't win. But I'll tell you what, it wasn't a normal election. It just wasn't, for many reasons. And in hindsight, maybe Trump had every right to contest the election the way he did. It was a dark day. I wish it hadn't happened, but I don't put all of it on him. I don't. I'm not saying I don't hold him blameless, but I'm saying on balance, go to another horrible thing that he's done or said. On balance, I think he's got it. He's got it for me. That's how I've gotten here. Now, the final question. So this has been my search for political identity. It's not over, but this is a big milestone. That's why I say it's a very important episode. I got to figure out how I navigate my personal relationships with my family. Presumably everyone will be mature and it's going to be fine, but it'll be interesting to see how. I hope it doesn't affect my relationships with my family, my girlfriend's family. I believe Donald Trump is a strong man. He ran the country as a strong leader, and the world was safer. The conditions were materially better, both home and abroad. And that's why I'm voting for him. Question then becomes, do I advocate? Because that was certainly not part of the plan. The plan was find your political identity, at least find out who you're going to vote for in November, coming out of law school with all of this, this metamorphosis happening allegedly, supposedly inside me. And I've arrived at this big conclusion. The question now, do I advocate? That is to be determined. I always said I don't care. This is really just an intellectual pursuit. I want to probe and talk to people, and because the goal was always to find my identity, but also to help heal the discourse a little bit, be part of a positive discourse that's missing, a thoughtful discourse that's missing, to try to heal the cure the bias a little bit that I think is clear in media. So we'll see if I become an advocate. But this is a perfect transition into the debate. So, comments on the debate. Bottom line is, I think Trump won the debate. Sure, she was good. She was good. And yes, she knocked him off his kilter. Look, he was perfect for the first 15 minutes. And she was fine. She was good. Rather, almost, it was impressive. And then she knocked him off his kilter with the crowd, with the rallies. People leave your rallies. And it fucked him up. And he never recovered. But he still won the debate. Because she lied a lot more than he did. She spoke in platitudes, and this man you see it in the eyes. I love watching him debate. I love watching him process. I thought he was very good. He's got a killer instinct. He's very talented. And you could tell this is a guy who's been following politics and economics and world events for a long time. And yeah, he's just like, let's go. Come at me. Let's go. And I just respect it. And I felt at the end of the day, this is a guy who I can trust. I can trust in my bones to do the job. She did a good job. She was effective. It was a performance. So in that sense, it was good. But he won the debate for me. If the question is, who do I want to be the next president? But she did a very good job. She did a great job. Let's say that. But it wasn't what I was particularly looking for. I said I love watching him. I love watching his face, his analyze. He's a very interesting guy, very entertaining. Now, any other substantive, before I get to the pet eating controversy, any other substantive points I want to bring up about the debate? No, I think I said the gist. Yeah, so she really rocked him she really got under his skin, and that led to the comment about they're eating the pets and cats. pets and dogs and cats. Excuse me, I'm foggy, guys. And I did. I turned to my girlfriend. I said, "That's his first mistake, and it's a big one." Because the reports that I'd seen is, hey, fake story. People were picking it up, but it was fake news. When he brought that up, I said, oh. So I don't deny the gravity of that moment. It was bad. It was bad. But he won the debate overall. So that comment, it's could be a problem for him unless it pans out to be true, which has happened so many times with the guy that I wouldn't be surprised if that's what happens. But that was not the focus of the debate for me overall. I thought it was a great debate. I thought they both did really well, and that he won. Now, the moderator controversy. Last thing I'll say about the debate. I'm having a great experience on X right now, formerly Twitter, and I'm finally gaining some traction. I'm gaining followers, and things are really opening up. Like I mentioned earlier, opportunities are opening up. And but I caught a lot of flack from my new followers, a lot of them, for saying that I thought, because I was live tweeting, live posting during the debate, and I thought I had very good analysis. But the very last analysis I had was the moderators were excellent and fair, and people tore me to shreds. Like, are you serious? Like, oh my God. Okay, so sue me. I thought they were excellent and fair in the moment while I watched it. I was just concluding. That was my final of six. It was my 6 of 6 tweets about the debate, and I said, great, great debate. They did great, and they were fair. But I've been eaten up about that, and so I want to address the people who think I'm full of shit. No, that's really how I felt. I'm sorry if you disagree. In hindsight, it's probably true that they were not fair, that it would be fair to say that they were much more aggressive in following up on Trump. But I will stand by my feeling that in the moment, watching the debate, I didn't have a problem with the moderators. I thought they were excellent. Were they fair? I said they were fair on Twitter. Were they fair? I think they were, but I say that knowing that the media landscape overall is not fair. That's a huge reason why I'm supporting the guy, because it's like, no, I'm seeing all these distortions over the years. What's going on? No, I'm supporting the guy who's being like persecuted by all these fake narratives. Excuse me. So yeah, the moderator thing didn't jump out at me. It jumped out at a lot of people, and I'm catching a lot of flack for missing it, but it it should have no impact on anyone's feeling for me, for my authenticity. I mean, look at my journey, look at the posts that I've been having for 3-4 weeks now since I came out for Trump. Look at the 6 tweets I had from during the debate. I mean, there's no question about my authenticity. And that's something I have to wrestle with. I am genuinely in Trump's camp. And that puts me at odds with everyone in my personal life. So we shall see how this all plays out. But we're going to lead with love. And I assume that everything will be fine, because ultimately I'm not going to. Here's the thing. And this family psychological stuff has been a huge part of my journey, unpacking that. At the end of the day, I'm not going to let it hold me back. I'm going to, this is about truth and honesty and self-discovery, and I'm not going to hide my feelings. Again, Trump's not perfect. He's flawed. And he's flawed in a way that you could say, oh man, that character, is it fit for office? You know what? The results are there. And frankly, there's a lot I like about his character. A lot I like about his character. The bad stuff, I'm willing to say, look, not every president needs to be, a 5th grade school teacher type of role model. All things considered, the world is on fire. Too many problems. Too much weird stuff's been going on lately. So much dangerous stuff. I'm for Trump. Now, last thing I want to mention before I wrap this up is that I might be, possibly will be, probably will be rebranding the podcast after the election. Again, not to say that I've arrived and I'm a MAGA Republican just because I'm voting for Trump. Guys, I'm an independent. I voted for Democrats my whole life. Obama twice, Hillary and Joe. I'm a registered independent since 2012. I'm voting for Donald Trump. It's crazy, right? But does that mean I'm a MAGA Republican? No, but I might be. So the point is the overall search for political identity is not over, but I think I'm going to retire the Searching for Political Identity podcast, which I feel conflicted about because I think it's a really good angle, actually. It's a really honest and it's a good frame to have a lot of interesting conversations about politics and other subjects. But in the interest of growth and change, I think I'm going to go to the Brian Eskow show and host people about politics, philosophy, art, you name it, psychology, ancient history, all sorts of things, technology. And I'm not comfortable with that, but I think that's the direction I'm going to go. So I wanted to tease that. So, guys, it's been an honor and a pleasure to share this episode with you. It's been an honor and a pleasure to share every episode with you. Really, it's not over, but this is a milestone, and I feel that, and I feel good about it. So, thank you all for being here, and I'll see you in a week. And have a good one. Take care.